Point Park softball begins conference play.
The Buccos reveal their roster.
And massive March upsets leave brackets busted.
It's time to come on down to Pioneer Sideline.
Good evening and welcome to Pioneer Sideline. I'm Becca Trulich.
And I'm Megan Lukic, back for another week of sports news. We have all the latest Point Park and Pittsburgh news for you while March Madness brings us absolute classics.
To start, let's send it over to NBI Dallas with updates on track and field recent meets.
This past Friday and Saturday, Point Park's track and field teams competed at the 49er Classic in Charlotte, North Carolina. At the Classic, 4 Point Park records were set over the 2 days. Starting with day one, the men had 2 program records set. First with Elijah Bechtel posting a time of approximately 15 minutes 6 seconds in the 5,000 meter race, which was 7.5 seconds better than the previous best. The second to reset a program record was Luke McKenna in the 10,000 meter race with a time of approximately 31 minutes 50 seconds. Moving on to the second day, the women now brought in 2 new records. Katie Njaye in the triple jump set a school record with 11.72 meters. The previous record was 11.54 meters. In the 4x800 relay, the Point Park women's team of Yana Schmid, Lotte Zetov, Anna Babinyech, and Aubrey Smith set a new school record time of approximately 9 minutes 19 seconds, which beat the old time by more than 11 seconds. Next, the Pioneers will split between 2 events next Friday and Saturday, competing at the CMU Invitational and Tim Weaver Invitational. Good luck, Pioneers. Now back to Becca on softball's first conference matchups of the season.
Point Park softball is coming off of a doubleheader weekend with both a win and a loss. This past Sunday, the Pioneers took on West Liberty. Point Park took control of the first game very early on and did not lose it. The Pioneers had 4 runs just in the first inning that left them with a 7-0 lead. Mia Arndt opened the opening inning with a leadoff home run, and Cam Mann and Emma Henry came home to score when Gia Labrie reached base on an error. Shania Cope hit a leadoff double in the 5th inning. Mann ripped a single to bring Cope and Arndt home. The Hilltoppers scored 4 runs in the 7th inning to cut the deficit, but with the bases loaded, pitcher Jalen Mullinax forced a flyout and ground ball to solidify the 12-9 win for Point Park. The Pioneers kept a fast-paced start in the second game, scoring 3 runs in the opening frame. West Liberty scored 2 runs in the bottom of the second, cutting the Pioneer lead to 1. The Hilltoppers would go on to tie the game in the 4th inning, with both Isabella McKee and Shelby Harris recording RBI doubles. The Pioneers took a 5-4 lead in the top of the 6th, but West Liberty took the lead in the bottom half of the 6th. The Hilltoppers ended up taking the win 6-5. For more on Point Park sports, to Megan for an update on Pioneer baseball.
Point Park baseball split their doubleheader against Concord University on Sunday, winning Game 1 by a score of 10-6 and losing Game 2 13-12. The Pioneers got off to a great start in the first inning of Game 1. A 3-run homer from sophomore Olindo Pazone and a 2-run homer from senior Luis Gonzalez gave Point Park the early 5-0 lead. Concord would score a run in each of the next 3 innings to cut Point Park's lead to 2, and then a 3-run homer from Concord's Dawson Gregg would give the Mountain Lions a 6-5 lead in the bottom of the 4th. The Pioneers came right back the next inning with an RBI from Olindo Pazone and a 2-run homer from junior Blake Ewing to reclaim the lead at 8-6. Point Park added 2 more runs in the bottom of the 6th inning for a final score of 10-6. Senior pitcher Camden Demigian earned his 3rd win of the season, pitching 4 innings, striking out 2 batters, and allowing 6 hits. Senior Ethan Parker came onto the mound in the bottom of the 5th and earned his 3rd save of the season. In Game 2, Concord posted 3 runs in the bottom of the 2nd to get themselves on the board first. Point Park came out with a massive response in the top of the 3rd by scoring 7 runs that was all kick-started by a solo home run from sophomore Felix Gonzalez. 2 solo home runs from Concord in the 3rd and 4th innings would cut the Pioneers' lead to 2, and the Mountain Lions took an 8-3 lead with 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th. Point Park again came out in the next inning with a strong response thanks to a grand slam from Blake Ewing to push the Pioneers ahead 11-8. But the Mountain Lions offense was not backing down in this one. RBIs from Tyson Burke and Sam Stowe made it an 11-10 ball game in the bottom of the sixth. Point Park added one more run in the top of the seventh, but Concord's resilience continued until the very end. An RBI from Matthew DeSanti made it a one-run game, and Nick DeSanti would later bat in 2 runs to make it 13-12. A 13-12 victory for the Mountain Lions. Now that's all for Point Park sports, but we have a lot more in the week ahead.
Point Park baseball travels to California, PA to face the Vulcans tomorrow afternoon. Men's wrestling goes down south to Louisiana to compete in the NCAA National Championships. Track and field takes a short trip to Carnegie Mellon for the CMU Invite. And men's lacrosse faces GMAC opponent Northwood in a conference game at home on Friday. Tune in to more Pioneer updates right here next week. And as always, go Pioneers!
After the break, local news you do not want to miss. We will be right back.
Welcome back. Now to Peyton Celesti for the official news on the Pirates opening day roster. Peyton?
After over a month of games and some of the most intriguing storylines in years for the Pittsburgh Pirates in their spring training home of Bradenton, Florida, the newly set 26-man roster landed in the Big Apple yesterday as the opening series at Citi Field against the New York Mets begins on opening day this Thursday. The biggest storyline by far this spring was 19-year-old shortstop Connor Griffin, the #1 ranked prospect in all of baseball, whose expectations are franchise-altering after cruising through minor league pitching in his first full season of professional baseball. With thin depth on the left side of the major league infield, Griffin was in the mix until the last days of camp to make the team before being assigned to AAA Indianapolis. Griffin showed flashes this spring with 4 homers, but only hit .171 in 41 at-bats, specifically struggling to hit the fastball. For now, former Utility Gold Glove Award winner Jared Triola will be the starting shortstop, with former first-round pick Nick Gonzalez getting the majority of starts at third base. Another big question mark for the roster was the final makeup of the starting rotation. For the second straight spring, Carmen Majinski won the Pirates' 5th starter role as the team continues to be hopeful that his former dominance as a reliever will translate. Free agent signee Jose Urquidy, a successful part of the rotation for the 2022 World Series champion Houston Astros, will stretch out in long relief after almost 2 years off the field due to arm injuries. MLB Top 100 prospect Hunter Barco got the last spot on the team to also serve in a long relief role. It could soon jump into the rotation as the only left-handed starter in the Pirates organization who is close to big league ready. Now for more on Pittsburgh sports, Megan Lukic is at the desk for updates and predictions on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Megan?
That's right, Peyton. The NHL regular season is coming to a close, and I am joined by Ryan Thiele to dive into the Pittsburgh Penguins and their possible playoff scenarios. So, Ryan, we'll start off with this Penguins team right now. They are in second in the I believe third or second in the Metropolitan Division, and it is neck and neck in the East. This team has been up and down, wins and losses. What do you want to see change from the Penguins to help make them go on a more consistent run and feel more confident, especially heading into a possible playoff run?
So the first major thing I want to talk about is our injuries. I just want us to get healthy. We're at this point where we're down players left and right. Malkin today just went day to day. We don't know how long he's going to be out now. We have St. Ivory still on the IR or still trying to get back. He's not back, and that's a major piece in our defense, which is going to be my second point. Our defense needs to play better.
Absolutely.
Well, the problem with Carolina this past week is that we allowed the net front to be a sea of red both those games. There was no pressure from the defense to push out their centers from making the tip plays or making the deflections that messed up Skinner and Shelov's in both the games. So our defense got to play better inside our own zone, and then our blue line play got to be cleaner. Our only clean game this past week was Winnipeg, and we won in the shootout. And then on top of that, the rest of our play in the blue lines has been awful. It's been what we were at the beginning of the season when we had sloppy blue line play, and we're right back to it. So what they need to focus on now is control the neutral zone, push the offense outside of the crease, and do not let them get any close. Because honestly, now we don't know what goaltender interference is.
No, we do not.
So we can't even let them get close, because if Skinner or Shelos gets hit, it's going to go in because they don't call goaltender interference anymore. So that's kind of like where I want to see us improve more with the defense, and then I just want us to get healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And overall with the defense, just turnovers. We have to stop them. I know the Penguins are playing the Avalanche right now. Nathan MacKinnon scored off of a turnover. That has to change. So we've been scoreboard watching a lot, especially watching the Islanders, the Blue Jackets, seeing how they're doing. What is the best case scenario for the Penguins if they make the playoffs? Where do you want to see them finish? Who do you want to see them maybe play? I know we don't want to wish an opponent and then eat our words later, but what is just the best overall scenario for this team?
So I just got done talking about this off camera. I want us to be either in the second spot in our division or the third spot. I don't want us to get in the wild card because we get to play Buffalo or Boston. So I don't want either of those teams who are both red hot. I would rather play Columbus, who's not experienced in the playoffs as much as those other two teams are. So I feel more comfortable with playing Columbus than the other ones.
I know Buffalo's not very experienced in the playoffs, but they've just been red hot since December. So I wouldn't want to have to face them either. Thank you so much for joining me, Ryan. And next, more of what's happening in the sports world today. Stay tuned.
It's a tough crowd.
Welcome back. Now Robert Fornatero gives us a glimpse into the world of collegiate cheer and dance. Robert?
Now, as many of us know, many at Point Park call the stage a second home. But this month, some of the world's most elite performers are taking their artistry to the competition mat. While cheer and dance often fly under the radar of mainstream sports, we are entering the peak of championship season. On March 1st, the All-Star world witnessed a reset as Top Gun All-Stars TGLC secured the highest score at the NCAA All-Stars Nationals with a score of 98.93, cementing their status as the team to beat heading into Worlds as they carry one of the largest consecutive winning streaks, winning the past 5 years. But the drama is just beginning because next month the iconic Daytona Beach Bandshell will host the NCAA and NDA College Nationals starting April 9th. It's a high-stakes showcase where college dance teams are judged not just on athleticism, but on the same choreography, technique, and execution familiar to anyone in our dance studios. As we look ahead to the cheerleading Worlds on April 24th and the D1 and D2 Summit Nationals in May, all eyes are on powerhouse programs like cheer athletics and the Stingray All-Stars to continue their winning streaks. Though our own campus no longer recognizes the competitive team, the overlap between competitive dance and the performing arts remains a driving force in the industry. So, whether it's the sharp precision of palm and jazz or the spring floors of the all-star cheer world, these athletes are proving that the mat, or Marley, is another stage to showcase their talent. Now, I'm sending it back to the desk where Gabe Ebersol has an update on this year's big dance game. Gabe?
That is right, Robert. We've reached the month where the impossible seems inevitable. Yours, mine, everyone's brackets busted already. Let's take a look at the action that made it happen, because the first big story of the tourney comes from the first four. The Texas Longhorns had to play their way into March, but this SEC squad not only made it to the madness, they're creating it. A game winner over NC State to get in, then 2 more upset wins over BYU and Gonzaga. Still dancing, the Longhorns look to play upset again to number 2 Purdue in the Sweet 16. Another team in the pool of 16, that would be Nebraska U, who got their first 2 tourney wins in school history over the weekend. With their trouncing of Troy, Nebraska drops the label of the only Power 5 program to never win a tournament game. But one win wouldn't satisfy the Cornhuskers. The Southern Region 4 seed sweated right until the buzzer to best Vanderbilt. Good work so far, but up next for them, it's a taller task. The top-seeded, defending national champion Florida Gators, watching from the couch as Nebraska takes on Iowa. The 9th-seeded Iowa Hawkeyes steal the Sweet 16 appearance from Florida. 11 lead changes culminate to a corner 3 calling game, and the first 1 seed heading home for the tournament. The other top seeds, they've loomed large so far in the tournament. Michigan, Arizona, and Duke all won at least one of their matchups by 20+. In particular, the top-seeded Duke Blue Devils are still dancing after a Siena scare to open up. But they bounce back big against TCU. Boozer and the boys will take on Rick Pitino and the Red Storm of St. John's in the Sweet 16. The Red Storm shook down Blue Blood Kansas in the closing seconds. Dylan Darling's first bucket was the game's last at the buzzer in the 67-65 win. All second seeds still stand in the 16, including the University of Houston. Winning by 31 in each of their 2 contests, the Cougs finally meet their match in Illinois. The 3rd seed is also dominating by an average margin of 28 points. These teams have been flying high, but one must return to earth. Just ask Kentucky. The madness of March can give you everything today just to snatch it all away from you tomorrow. Ask tourney opening TCU, the team who kicked it off the right way just to get kicked to the curb the very next day. Or the school that reached its highest point in school history just to fall trying to scale the next mountain. The tournament has twists and turns at every single turn. We're back in action with a bracket-breaking 4-game lineup on Thursday, so make sure you're tuned in and cheering on Illinois in the Sweet 16. Now, to discuss who we see winning in the Sweet 16, I'm joined by Ethan to make our predictions. So Ethan, glad to have you joining me right here, and we talked about it. The roughness, the heartbreak, absolute madness in March. What team went down that you were most sad to see so far?
Yeah, I would say Florida overall. Obviously, the team that won it all last year. Very disappointing to see. I know March Madness, all about upsets and all the drama that it involves. But for me to lose to Iowa in the round of 32, very disappointing.
Very disappointing, especially as a 1 seed. You're the defending champion. You retained a decent amount of pieces from that team, and to come up so short after such a strong season in the SEC, I definitely agree with you. A team that I would also put in that billing was Gonzaga. That team was one of the most efficient teams at scoring inside the arc the entire season. I thought that would pay off in March, where the games get to be more in the half court, and they kind of fall on their face a lot earlier in the tournament than a lot of people had expected. So we talked about them going down to Texas. An 11 seed is a matchup you usually want most of the time, and they come up short on that. So I think it was very interesting to see that as well. But let's get to a more positive note on this. What team were you excited and encouraged by their display through the first 2 rounds?
Yeah, I would say Arizona for sure. I love the way they dominated through the first two rounds. But overall, just looking at their season outlook, I mean, they beat Alabama, they beat UConn, they beat Florida, they beat Houston twice and Iowa State twice. Every single team that I just listed is still in the tournament outside of Florida. For me, they look like the most dominant team going forward, although I think UConn and Houston and Michigan State have definitely impressed me.
Yeah, Arizona's resume does stand out as the best to me on paper. As someone who picked Illinois to win going into the tournament, very encouraged to see a 21 and a 35-point win to open up the tournament for them. But another team that also has been impressive so far, Michigan, a top seed that has went out there and offensively been able to get really whatever they want through the first two games, going over 100 against Howard and then 95 in the second round. And then give me one team that, through the first two rounds, we come in seeing all these regular season action. We think we know these teams. But through the first two tournament games, sometimes that can change. What's a team that your opinion has kind of changed on through the first two games?
Alabama. I had Texas Tech beating Alabama. But just looking at Alabama as a whole, like they have 6 players that average 10 or more points throughout the season. I actually think they're gonna knock down Michigan here this weekend. So for me, definitely a team that has surprised me, and I definitely have a different perspective on them moving forward.
That was exactly what my answer was going to be. I also had Texas Tech beating Alabama. That team has dropped 90-plus points. Their offense is looking like it's firing on all cylinders. They look really good heading into this point of the season. So I'm going to take a different route from you, and I'm going to talk about Duke, a team that has really struggled for whole halves throughout the early part of this tournament. The top seed coming in, it's been rough for them, but we have to see how this goes. Sweet 16 coming up, and a lot of action still to be done. Now we move on to Ryan Quinn on a recent discharge in this year's World Cup. Ryan?
There has been a ton of talk regarding Iran and their participation in the World Cup should it happen. But now another development has happened which could hinder Iran's dreams at winning in North America. Sadar Azman, a striker for Shabab Ali, has been reported to be expelled from the Iranian national team due to perceived lack of loyalty to Iran. Iran authorities were upset after Azman posted a photo of Dubai's ruler Mohammed bin Rashid Al Malkoum. This photo coming after Iran has launched attacks on the United Arab Emirates. An Iranian sports pundit, Mohammad Mishiagi, blasted the photos on TV, saying, quote, "It's unfortunate that you don't have enough sense to understand what kind of behavior is appropriate at a given time. We should not mince words with such people. They should be told that they are not worthy of wearing the national team jersey. We have no patience on this sulking, childish behavior. National team players should be people who proudly belt out the national anthem and deserve to wear the Iran jersey," end quote. Azman is one of, if not the top player for his national team. His 91 international appearances, he's shot in 57 goals, and without him leading the attack for Iran, it'll be a bumpy road on the pitch. And that is all for your news this evening. As we dive right into the break in our college hoops bracket, don't go anywhere.
Take them cue and open their mics.
Today marked the 1-year anniversary of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette strike.
Point Park University just hosted a campus-wide meeting.
Plans for the rapid transit bus line are not set to conclude until 2025.
Welcome back. The opening day roster for the Pirates has been finalized, and with opening day just around the corner, we will be debating if we believe the Pirates have made enough moves to make the postseason. I am joined by Ryan, Peyton, and Nate to discuss this. What are your thoughts? We'll start with you, Ryan.
I am very excited. This is probably the most excited Pirates season, probably preseason I've had in a long time. I think last time I was excited about the Pirate team, I was in middle school. So,
wow.
So the fact that I'm this excited, yes, I'm a little cautious because this is still the Pirates at the end of the day, but I'm still very optimistic, and I think the moves we made Granted, we have some moves we can still make throughout the year. We still got Jared Jones coming off the IR. We still got Connor Griffin up in probably May, late June, early June, in that little time span that we pulled Skeens up when Skeens was in AAA for a little bit. So we have a lot of moves that I think if we make the right moves and these players play as well as they are supposed to, we can finally have a Bucktober where I can be extremely excited to be a Pirate fan again.
Peyton?
Yeah, I've been saying I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, Ben Sherrington finally stepped up this offseason, got some bats, but it kind of feels like they're throwing darts at the wall and hoping something sticks. Marcell Ozuna, $12 million a year, or for 1 year. I don't know if that's a great move because he clearly declined last year. Ryan O'Hearn, I like the bat, but he's not an outfielder. Defensively, this team has issues, and with the pitching, I know everyone thinks Skeens, we're going to be fine. Carmen Majinski, again, is your 5th starter. No lefties, really, that are going to be in the rotation other than maybe Hunter Barco. And then the bullpen, you traded David Bednar for a bag of chips. Do I really believe that Dennis Santana can be the closer and be as good as he was last year? I don't think so. So I think the expectations are a little high right now. And we have to realize, like you said, that this is the Pittsburgh Pirates. And when Ben Sherrington has to make a move at the trade deadline, do I trust him to make this team better?
Yeah, so about Marcell Ozuna, I mean, I think they just need to get bats this offseason, right? And they did that. Now, is defense going to be a concern? I think it will be. I don't know how it isn't.
Well, he's going to DH.
Well, I know, but defense in general. Like Ryan O'Hearn, you got Reynolds now in left. You look at third base with Nick Gonzalez. I think that is a concern. I do have concerns about the back end of the rotation. Obviously, I like getting Garcia for Oviedo and Burrows bringing in all those guys from Tampa. But now that depth is really tested when it was a position of strength for the Pirates. It's gonna be a lot on the plate of a Hunter Barco, of a Majinski. He's added some pitches. We'll see if that changed his approach and everything for this season. But there is concern with the bullpen. But overall, I think the offense is going to be as good as it's been by far in the Ben Sherrington tenure. Not saying much, but I think I'm very cautiously optimistic. Would love to see Bucktober, obviously.
Stole my term.
We both have that term. Okay. Anyway, I think this is a team that will be fighting for the playoffs. Will they make it? The National League, there's a lot of teams that are jumbled up, I think, in that mid-80s kind of win range. So it'll be tough, but I think the Buccos could do it.
You talk about third base. I mean, you traded Key Brian Hayes. You had 8 months to fill that hole, and you have Nick Gonzalez as your starting third baseman. He's barely played third base. The bat is average at best. They missed out on a Eugenio Suarez. I think if they would have got him and added at least 30 to 35 home runs, maybe more to your lineup, I'd be feeling a lot better about this team right now.
So one defensive point I want to make, you brought up Ryan O'Hearn playing right field. We also have Jake Mangrum, who was part of that Brandon Lau trade, who is a nice defensive hitter that, yes, he's not going to get you the 30 home runs that this team really needs, but he's going to be that guy who can be slotted in the second spot. Let's just say O'Neal Cruz hit a double, he's in second base. He's that guy who can put the ball in right field and then send O'Neal Cruz back home. So let's say Ozuna struggles, O'Hearn jumps into the DH spot, Ozuna sits down, and then we just put Jake out in that right field to play some meaningful innings, which I thought they should have done from the get-go.
But Mangum doesn't have the power of Marcell Ozuna. If Marcell Ozuna returns to 2024 form, this is probably a playoff team. But it's kind of curious that no other team was interested in him and that he landed on the Pirates. It feels like the Pirates may have been getting a declining player. And secondly, we talk about these new signees, but it starts with your young players. Henry Davis has to be better. If he's hitting $160, I don't care how good his defense is. And O'Neal Cruz has to be a consistent player for this team. If O'Neal Cruz is close to being the team MVP, then maybe they have a chance. But I don't really have belief in O'Neal Cruz because what has he shown me throughout a full season? He hasn't put it all together yet.
Well, regarding Ozuna, I think obviously he had injuries last season. I think that was a concern. He's getting up there in age. I think he will have closer to the 2024 season than the 2025 season. He's been that hitter for years now. I think that's going to be a big boost for the Pirates. I think Cruz, I think he will take a step forward. It's hard not to, honestly, with the season he had. But he got bigger in the offseason, stronger.
Cut his hair. I like his haircut. I do.
Okay.
I think it's better.
Well, there you go. But I think he's going to show some more power and some more consistency defensively in the outfield. It's going to be necessary for this Pirates outfield, like I was talking about defensively. But again, this offense has improved. The pitching staff, you're looking at rotation and bullpen. It's been listed top 10 on MLB.com. I don't know about their bullpen, but I think a guy like Mason Montgomery, if he really can show his potential and command the strike zone, and a guy like Gregory Soto, that's some powerful arms in the back end of that bullpen.
When you talk about Montgomery, that goes back to the point of the young guys have to step up.
Right.
Montgomery hasn't done a lot at the big league level, but we know the potential's there. Can Isaac Mattson, who kind of came out of nowhere as a rookie last season, can he be that setup guy like he was last year? That's where I really wish they would have just kept David Bednar, because you got Flores, but he's not even on the team, and he's going to be the third catcher.
It's asking a lot out of some guys. It's putting guys in a spot higher kind of in the depth chart than maybe they should be, and that was a really bad Bednar trade. I mean, we said that then, we can say it now, because Rafael Flores didn't make the team, and the other prospects are just prospects right now.
So I want to bring up O'Neal Cruz one more time. Payne, I know you're not a big fan of him, but his swing in the WBC is as smooth as I've seen it in the whole time he's been up here. The past 2 or 3 years he's been up in the major leagues, his swing has not been smooth. It's been choppy from the load all the way through. A couple of his home runs from the WBC is probably the smoothest I've seen O'Neal Cruz hit a baseball the entire time he's been up.
Yeah, but he was facing Joe Lunchbucket from Great Britain.
It doesn't matter. You still got to have a smooth swing to hit the ball like that.
I don't think his swing has changed.
That was very disrespectful.
I mean, it's true. I mean, they're not. The Dominican Republic was putting up 12 runs against a bunch of nobody teams in pool play. So.
Hey, it was at least some encouraging sign. I mean, you're looking for anything with O'Neal Cruz. I mean, we know the potential's there, so.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Be sure to join us next week at the same Pioneer time, the same Pioneer channel, and the same Pioneer Sideline.